Good morning and welcome to Issues and Views. I'm your host, Todd Anderson, and we have two guests with us today. Chet Seacrest is a two-time cancer survivor and husband and father of two, and also Maria Turner. She's the Marketing and Communications Manager in the Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. And we're here today to talk about the big event coming up, which is the Ride for Roswell. It's taking place on Saturday, June 23rd. It's one of the nation's largest cycling events, and the purpose, the passion, and commitment is to end cancer once and for all for all, and that fuels the Ride for Roswell. I want to thank you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for
coming.
Thank you.
Maria, tell me what your role is regarding the Ride for Roswell, and tell me more about the ride. Why is it so special?
Okay, well, my role is I am a team captain. I have served as a team captain for 11 years. We have a team that is called the Donor Center, which is where we collect blood and platelets for our patients. And we're one of the teams under the big heading of Team Roswell. There are many teams, and we're one of them.
Oh, okay.
We are quite large. We run between 50 and 90 riders each year. And it's very exciting for us to be part of such a monumental event. And we're geared up for 2018.
So the implication is that people listening who are at work can form a team.
Oh, it's really the best way to do it, to have that camaraderie. And if you don't have a team, we can find a team for you. I welcome all newcomers on my team, but we can always find a team for you. And that's the way to just do something and be part of that small team and still be part of the larger team.
Now, how does all this relate to Chet? You guys rode for him a few years ago.
Each year our team rides in honor of someone, a patient, a Roswell Park patient that has utilized our services. Our services in our department are to make sure that our patients have the blood and platelets that they need for transfusions. And Chet can tell you a little bit more about his story, but he did need a lot of transfusions. And so we became familiar with his story and asked him that year in 2011 if we could ride in his honor. And then he and his family members and friends jumped on board with our team, helped us fundraise, and it's a way for us to bring awareness to our need for blood and platelet donations and still support the Ride for Roswell.
Now, does that raise money for Chet specifically, or just
no?
For
all the money that's raised is not for a specific family. It really goes to the main cause of research and treatment that the Alliance Foundation is responsible for with the Ride for Roswell.
Well, Chet, congratulations. You are a two-time cancer survivor, and tell me about your experiences with Roswell.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I've been at Roswell, going there since 2009, and like Maria said, I've had countless blood transfusions and probably more platelet transfusions than even blood. So without people donating to that donor center, it keeps many people alive.
So this the Ride for Roswell, now you've become a volunteer regarding that, the Ride for Roswell, right?
Yes. Anytime Maria or anyone would ask me to give back anything to Roswell in any way I can do it, I try to step up as often as I can. It's just some way to thank them for all they've done for me over the years.
Now, I imagine you need more volunteers?
Oh, we absolutely need volunteers. We need volunteers in so many capacities at Roswell Park, but this time of year, we definitely need volunteers for the Ride for Roswell. There are many things that folks can do who maybe are intimidated by actually physically riding. They can be route guides and help direct the riders where to go. They can help serve refreshments. They can help hand out registration packets. I would encourage anybody who is somewhat interested in this to call, and I feel that once a representative talks to them, they're going to be even more excited about helping.
Now, Maria, the answer is probably pretty obvious, but explain to us why you're so passionate about the Ride for Roswell.
Well, I am a survivor myself.
Oh, really?
And,
Okay.
Yes, I am. And so the first year I participated in the Ride for Roswell, I had a booth, and we were trying to solicit blood and platelet donors. That was my main purpose. It was the first time I had ever been to the Ride for Roswell. And when I saw the thousands and thousands of people there and all the colorful T-shirts that people do for their teams to ride in honor or memory of someone, I was absolutely blown away. I really forgot why I was there. I just wanted to be there for the other reason. And so I said to myself, there's no way I'm ever not going to do this. So the next year I signed up my family, started our team with 11 people, and we raised $1,500. And fast forward, we now to date have raised $250,000 for the Ride for Roswell. So it's just great to see everybody coming together for this cause. Even if, unfortunately, they lost their loved one to cancer, they're still out there supporting the cause and grateful for what Roswell was able to do for them for the time that their person was with them.
Now, how long is the ride?
Oh, there's so many routes. You can do something as small as 3 miles, which my little joke this year seems to be it's 1.5 miles to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and 1.5 miles back. I feel almost everybody in Western New York can do that. And then we go as far as 100 miles for those real avid cyclists, and everything in between, 10 miles, 20 miles. There's all different kinds of routes for different physical abilities.
Now, can you walk instead of riding?
No, we don't really have that set up where you can walk, but you can be a virtual rider, which means you don't physically have to ride your bike, but you still participate in all the activities, the fundraising aspect. You still get your T-shirt, so you're a very important part of the team without the physical bike riding.
Now, this is taking place Saturday, June 23rd. How does someone register for the event? Do you have to register in advance?
Yes, we do ask that you register in advance. It just makes it easier for everyone. You're more prepared than that day. And it's just right off the website. So they can just go to roswellpark.org or they can go to rideforroswell.org and they'll find everything that they need to register. It's very easy. It's just a couple questions. And then the week leading up to the ride, usually starting that Thursday, folks can come out ahead of time and pick up their ride number and a bunch of fun things that we give everyone and get geared up, maybe have a few refreshments, and then this way when they show up Saturday morning, they're ready to go.
Now, is there a cost involved?
There's a nominal cost, a $20 registration fee, and then for members, team members who are 17 and younger, they only have to raise $50. That's their minimum registration, minimum fundraising, and for other folks, the minimum is $200. And for some folks, that might sound like a lot of money and intimidating, but trust me, as soon as you start letting people know that you're riding and you're fundraising, the donations come in, and it's really not hard to get to that $200 level.
Now, if you want to sponsor someone or just donate, how do you go about doing that?
Again, when you go online to the rideforroswell.org site, there's a search window and you can type in someone's name. So maybe you are aware of a coworker who's riding or a family member. All you have to do is put their name in the search box and their page will come up and you're going to get a donate now button. All you have to do is hit that and you're able to donate by credit card, making it very easy. You can also mail in checks to the Ride for Roswell, and you can also donate cash. You can give it directly to that rider and they can make sure that the ride office gets that. So there are many ways to donate and make sure that someone gets to their fundraising goal.
Now, can you identify where you want your funds to go, or where does the money go specifically?
The money goes to research and to treatment options. For instance, I can give you a scenario. I just was involved with a meeting yesterday and we had a guest speaker who has melanoma, and he was able to become part of a new study that makes his treatment a little bit easier than traditional treatment, and he's doing quite well. And the way that study was funded was through alliance funds that come from efforts such as the Ride for Roswell. So we're always able to bring that money to new and innovative therapies and treatments for patients, and that's what it's all about.
And this is, how many years has this been going on, the Ride for Roswell?
I think this is our 23rd year.
Really? So I know that I think you mentioned that your specific team raised $1,500 initially.
The first
year. Or was
year.
that the entire ride?
No, that was the first year. So Team Roswell is responsible, just Team Roswell is responsible for raising over $1 million to date. And I'm proud to say that Team Donor Center, my team, has raised $250,000 to date. So we're a big part of that. Now, last year we raised $4.7 million in entirety.
Overall.
So we have really done amazing things with this fundraising.
Now, Maria, I understand there's an app people can use to donate.
Absolutely. You can download the app on your phone, on your smartphone, and that's one way to make fundraising a little easier. And then there's also something really new this year, which is a Facebook integration. So many people are on Facebook, and this has been highly successful. We are seeing great success with this. It's just a way, once you register for the ride, there's a link that will take your page right to Facebook so that folks can just hit a donate now button and put that donation right on the page. It's sponsored by Facebook. So from what I understand, because it's a Facebook initiative, they're in the way that the algorithm works, they kind of push that up to the top.
Okay.
So folks are more inclined to see it more frequently, and it's going very, very well.
Great. Chad, I want to ask you more about your experience with Roswell and just your story. Can you tell us more about your cancer story?
Sure. In 2009, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and so of course I was admitted right away. They wanted me to come up the day the evening I was diagnosed at 9:30. I did ask if I could come up Wednesday morning, just so I could speak with my family and tell them, I wasn't going to be home for quite a while. And so I was inpatient for 9 weeks the first time, and that's when I did receive multiple blood and platelet transfusions during that time. And then I was discharged for a little while, waiting for my bone marrow transplant. They had to find a donor that matched my blood type, and they did eventually through the registry. And so I got my transplant on September 17th of 2009, and it was a very slow but steady, progressive upward turn, if you will. And here I am 9 years later. No more need of blood and platelet transplants, but still, I know there's many people in the hospital that need it. So,
wow, that's great. That's a great story.
Thank you.
So, obviously, you're very compassionate about Roswell. They've pretty much saved your life.
Yes, they did.
And this ride must mean a lot to you.
It does. It's one of their, if not, it's one of their biggest fundraisers, and they're great with research. They're always cutting edge on developing and researching new medicines, new drugs, new treatments for all kinds of cancer survivors and patients, not just leukemia. So, all the money that they raise is well used, and it's always right here, used in this facility.
So now what was that like for you to see all these hundreds and thousands of people riding bikes and some on your behalf?
It was overwhelming, really. It's the starting gate is lined with both sides of people clapping for you and cheering for you, and when you take off, it's really overwhelming to see how many people are in this area come out to support not just me, obviously, but all survivors and those who may have not survived, and but they still come out and ride on their behalf and want to donate and help the cause.
Okay, great. Can anyone attend the event? I mean, is there a spectator area?
Yes, this event, we kick off on Friday night with Celebration of Hope, and then Saturday is Ride Day, and both days are open to the community. So anybody can come out and support their friends and family members or just see it for themselves, because it's really hard to put into words, like Chet says, how overwhelming and exciting it is until you actually see it. You can't imagine what it's like to be at UB and have over 12,000 people there just for a couple hours. It really is something like you've never seen. And for me and my family, it really has become the highlight of our summer. We'll never miss it.
Now, Maria, let's talk about the routes a little more. Did you mention how many routes there are? I know you said there are many routes. How many routes are there?
There are 11 routes in total.
Okay.
And like we said, you can start out as little as 3 miles. That tends to be the family fun ride. You find all kinds of children on that one, even babies in the bike seats in the back with their parents.
That's cool. So there's a family road so you can bring even little kids.
Oh, yeah. You can bring children of all ages. And like I said, it's 1.5 miles, and then you get a break and 1.5 miles back. So it's very easy, very manageable for almost anyone. And then you start to progress a little bit. And you get into, we even have we partner with the Slow Roll of Buffalo, and we have what we call a Roswell. And that is 18 miles that starts at Roswell and ends at Roswell. It's the only one that starts and ends at Roswell. And it's nice if someone maybe doesn't want to, you don't have to worry about the parking at UB or thousands and thousands of people. It's a smaller route, and there's a party right there at Roswell. It's very nice, and it's just like the name says, you do ride at a very slow pace, so it's fun for folks. I wouldn't recommend the avid bike riders to do that one because it's quite slow compared to what they're used to, but we have a lot for them that's at UB, so that if they like to ride a little bit faster or longer, there are plenty of opportunities. We go into a couple 20-mile routes. We go into a couple 30-mile routes. We have routes that are in the 40 miles, 60 miles, and all the way to the Centurion ride, which is 100 miles for those true bike riders who have the clips on their pedals, and they have all the bike gear. Right. This is the Ride for Roswell is one of many rides that they probably do throughout the summer.
So this 100-mile route, is that the one that goes through Canada?
No, actually, that one does not go through Canada. There's 2 routes that go to Canada. One is 28 miles, and the other one is 46 miles. And the first one, the 28 miles, is really cool because you still get the Canadian experience. You still get to see the falls and all the beauty that comes with that ride. But you end in Niagara, and we're going to shuttle you back, you and your bike, back to UB. So you get to relax on the ride back. For those who have more energy and want to go a little further, they're going to ride back on their bikes. So two options to go to Canada. The fundraising minimum's a bit higher for that one. It's $500. Again, it's not as hard as someone might think. Once you start fundraising, you get creative, and before you know it, you're at your minimum. And most folks end up going over their minimum.
Well, aside from what you just mentioned, it sounds like all the routes are pretty scenic.
They are. There's the 130 drives through the country, Clarence, Akron. It's beautiful. And then we have several routes that ride along the Niagara River in the city of Tonawanda, and that's very scenic as well. And every year it's always fun. I tend to do that route. There are a bunch of people who come out with cowbells, and they're so excited to see you when you pass along the water, and they're ringing their bells and cheering you on. And there have been years when people let us go through their sprinklers to cool us off. There's all kinds of fun things you see along the way, pets and just all kinds of people coming out to support you. Even if they can't ride, they know that you go by their neighborhood, and they're all out there in full force.
So have you guys experienced any inclement weather on any of these days? And what happens?
Yeah, along the way, yes. We've had years. I think it was 2 years ago, there were actually a couple routes we had to cancel, the longer routes, because it was horrendous. It was a horrendous rainstorm. We have definitely had weather issues along the way, but for some maybe cosmic reason, generally the weather is quite nice. So we do what we can regardless of what Mother Nature does. And no matter what the weather is, the fundraising is always there. That never stops.
The Canada route, how does that work in terms of the border? Do you have to have
You do.
Do they
have a bit.
Stop you and ask questions?
They do. You have a bit more in the registration process in advance. You have to furnish some of your personal information for the Canadian border, but the ride does all that. The ride crew takes care of all that. They tell you what you need in advance, and the border has that before you arrive that day. Now, you need to have it with you as well on your personal possession. Your birth certificate or your enhanced license, passport,
right.
whatever it may be, you need to have that with you to present it that day. But it actually goes pretty smoothly. Even though you have a long line of bikers waiting to get through the border, it goes a lot smoother than you think. So we've done this now. I believe this is our third time doing it, and we've gotten pretty good at it.
Okay, that's good. Well, so the same applies to riders crossing the border as it would any other time.
Correct.
So don't think that you can ride and cross the border if you're not able to normally.
Right. That's correct. Good point.
What else did we want to talk about? You said you partner with Slow Roll. There's also a Celebration of Hope event at UB.
Yeah, that's
Tell me more about that.
Beautiful way that we kick everything off. So how that evening starts, it starts, the big thing starts at Roswell, and that's what we call our Peloton. It's about 200 to 250 riders who have raised a minimum of $1,000, and they become part of a special club that we call EMC, or Extra Mile Club, and those are for folks who have raised $1,000 or more. And because of that, because they've reached that fundraising level, they're able to participate in what's called the Peloton, and it's a 12-mile ride from Roswell to UB. And that kicks everything off. There are folks waiting for us at UB as that Peloton rides in. And then following them is a procession of our physicians from Roswell, survivors that represent all the different disease sites at Roswell. It's very emotional. It's a wonderful way to get everything started. There's all kinds of activities that evening and an opportunity to get refreshments. It's the evening that we light the ceremonial torch. This year we have a person who has been a 10-year advocate for Roswell Park and the Ride for Roswell, who then was actually diagnosed herself and is very grateful for the care that she received at Roswell, and is lighting the ceremonial torch this year to kind of culminate the event. So that Friday night is very exciting, gets everything started, gets everybody excited and motivated to get out there that next morning and ride their bikes.
That sounds pretty exciting. A ceremonial torch? Is a torch?
Yes,
lighting?
There's an actual torch lighting. Last year was the first year we did it, and I can see it being an annual tradition because it was absolutely beautiful, and I know many people are looking forward to that again this year.
Chet, gonna put you on the spot. Do you ride?
No, I don't.
Come on, Chet, man. You gotta get in. You gotta ride.
If I could, I would. Unfortunately, my hips just don't allow me to ride a bike.
I see. Okay. All right. What if you don't have a bike?
That's a great question. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who don't have a bike, or maybe they're holding on to the one that they had in 6th grade. And I wouldn't recommend that they get out there and ride that one if it hasn't been looked at in 20 years. So there are a couple options. If you don't own a bike, there are many bike shops in the area that rent them. Bert's Bikes and Tom's and all the names that you've heard before as far as the bike shops are happy to help you with a bike rental. Some of the bike shops actually deliver your bike right to UB, so that makes it very easy. Just pick up your bike at UB and return it at UB. Others require you to come down to the bike shop themselves and take care of the rental there. But many times it's just an online rental process. It's pretty easy and it's very convenient. So, for certainly less than you would pay to purchase a new bike, you can still participate. But you don't have to have a bike, and you don't have to ride a bike to participate in the Ride for Roswell. As we mentioned earlier, it can be a virtual rider, and that simply means that you're not physically riding the bike, but you take part in all the other aspects of the Ride for Roswell. Name some of the other things that go on. Well, especially on Ride Day, there's all kinds of things going on for families, face painting and all different opportunities. There are so many vendors there handing out free things, you're going to get samples of this and samples of that. And besides the free stuff, which everybody always loves, it's an opportunity for you to see thousands of people coming together for one important cause. Many of us don't see that. It's not an opportunity that you really see very often. Mm-hmm. It's right here. It's local. It's a beautiful thing to do on a Saturday afternoon, just to see everybody coming together. You know, in the world that we live in right now, there's so much bad. Mm-hmm. Anytime we turn on the news, there's something bad that's happening. This is Western New Yorkers and people actually from all over coming together to support cancer research, to help support people who have been afflicted, to help support families who have lost their loved ones. And it's an opportunity for Buffalo and Western New York to come together as one team, whether you ride a bike or not, in support of a very important cause. It makes you feel great. The feeling is indescribable, actually. For all of us who say we want to do things, mean to do things, and say, you know, maybe next year, maybe I'll do that next year. I ask you to think of this year. This is the year that maybe you don't wait. Mm-hmm. You get involved in some capacity. There's so many ways to get involved. And maybe you're not going to be on a team, and maybe you're not even able to come out that day, but you certainly can donate to someone. Almost everybody knows somebody who's participating with the Ride for Roswell. You can support them. Donate $5, $10, $100, whatever you can do. You'll feel really great that you participated. It's in some way in 2018.
And it is a positive event. You mentioned that there's a lot of bad these days. Just mentioning that, is there security? Are there security measures?
Oh yes, yes. We've really never had any problems. Then I've been participating 11 years, and I've never seen anything that was worrisome. There are security measures
so you have
at
the Buffalo
every
police
level.
Are there, and
we do partner with the Buffalo Police. Mm-hmm. We have a long-standing partnership with the Buffalo Police and the Amherst Police, because many of our routes are going through Amherst.
Right, exactly. Going through the streets and so on and so forth. Yeah. Now, Chet, although you don't ride, you have participated, obviously, and I think you mentioned that you donated this year?
Yes, we did. My sister-in-law is riding for a team.
Okay.
So we were able to support the cause that way.
Cool. And just on I did a blog or a post the other day about Uber purchasing the jump bikes in Buffalo, and I think they're going to have some e-bikes, some motorized bikes. So moving forward next year, you guys might want to partner with them for people who can't necessarily ride. That would be something.
That's a great idea.
Because they're actually motorized bikes that they're going to have for rent. You see the jump bikes throughout the city of Buffalo, so that might be something. That would be
great. I have seen those motorized bikes before on some of the routes, and I have been tempted. I think that might be a good way to go eventually. That'll be the way to keep doing this for many years to come.
Yeah, exactly. And you wanted to mention something else, Maria?
Well, I would like to be able to say to your listeners that, maybe you're fortunate in that you personally have not experienced cancer, or your loved ones haven't. Certainly, that's not the norm. Most of us are touched by cancer, but maybe you're not. Maybe your family's not. We all have something. We all have something that afflicts us. There, in some way, we have all had an illness. We've all fallen on, bad times, and this is a way for you to get out of your own head. When you're able to do something that's bigger than yourself, you feel great about what you did, and it's a shift for you. It's an attitude shift. So I think that I would love to see everybody in their lifetime try to experience the Ride for Roswell in some way. I think you'll be amazed at how you feel and how you've been able to help others. When we rode in honor of Chet, he was very ill at that time, and it was an opportunity for him to shift the focus away from his illness and help others like him and look at the bigger picture. And over the years, we've ridden for other families who have had situations where they're very ill, and they have personally told me it helped in their healing to be able to help others and do something bigger and shift that focus off their own illness was part of their healing. So it's an opportunity for everybody to do something really great this summer. And like I said earlier, let's make this the summer 2018. If you've been on the fence and you've thought about doing this before, this is your year to just get on your computer and register, pick up the phone, let us help you. And I think that when August rolls around and you're looking at fall and you look back at all the things you did this summer, I'm sure this will have been one of the highlights.
So the Ride for Roswell is taking place on Saturday, June 23rd. We had mentioned that if you don't have a bike, you can rent a bike. The deadline for doing that is June 15th. Just want to mention that. And in terms of registration, can you go over that again, Maria?
Yes, you
Where
could just
people
go to
register?
rideforroswell.org. That's all you have to type in. That will lead you right where you need to. It will just, you are able to register as a new donor, or maybe you've done it in the past as a repeat donor, or you can call 716-845-2300, ask for the Ride for Roswell, and we'll get you all taken care of.
And it is mandatory that you have to pre-register. You can't just show up that day.
You really do need to pre-register. You can't just show up that day.
And team-wise, same thing, same type of...
There are many teams that you can be part of. You can form your own team. Anybody
Okay.
has the ability to form their own team or jump on with a team. We can assist you with that, and that is just a really fun way to go.
So if somebody wants to jump on a team, like say I wanted to be a part of your team, I could do that?
You could, once you get to the website, there's a search box, and you would just type in our team name. Our particular team name is the Donor Center, and it will populate, and it will say join team, and you can join that team or any of your friends' team or any of the Roswell teams. We welcome anyone from the community to join one of our Roswell teams.
Well, once again, Chet Seacrest, congratulations once again, two-time cancer survivor and husband and father of two. He's a vital part of the Ride for Roswell as a volunteer. Congratulations, Chet. And Maria is the Marketing and Communications Manager in the Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. Maria, thank you for all that information today. Urge you to be a part of this and take part of the Ride for Roswell. Again, it's happening Saturday, June 23rd, and hopefully you'll participate. Thanks very much for you guys' information today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.